Hello everyone, it's Makeda Valletta. I hope you all are doing well. I am recording this video in two places, on my Instagram live at the_body_scientist and on YouTube. I'm at the Body Scientist 81. So I hope you're all doing well today. For those of you who are not familiar with me and my work, I have a Bachelor of Science in Exercise and Sport Science with a concentration in strength and conditioning and nutrition. And then I did 2 years of graduate school at Columbia University in applied physiology and nutrition. And I'm currently completing a master's in strength and conditioning at the moment. So, today I'm going to talk about, I said I was going to talk about five ways to burn fat. But instead of doing five, it's probably going to be maybe 7 or something, okay? So we're going to talk about some of the most efficient ways to burn fat. There are a lot of myths in the fitness industry. That's something I talk about a lot. It's a big issue. There are a lot of people in the fitness industry who are so-called trainers who are not qualified. They don't really understand the science behind it. And there's a lot of misconceptions, okay? And so the number one, first, most important thing that you want to do if you want to burn fat is to build muscle, okay? Building muscle is essential. A lot of people will think, like, let's say somebody has a lot of body fat. They'll say, oh, I'm going to do cardio first, right, and get some of this weight off and then lift weights. Now, I put cardio in quotes because cardio can be aerobic or it can be anaerobic. Most people, when they talk about cardio, they're talking about aerobic activity. Aerobic cardio is not always the most efficient type of cardio, especially if you want to build muscle. That's a whole other conversation. I get into that in depth in my other YouTube video on cardio. I have a YouTube video on the Body Scientist 81 where I talk about the difference between aerobic and anaerobic cardio. But when people say cardio, they're talking about aerobic a lot of times. So in aerobic cardio, too much aerobic cardio can cause you to lose muscle, okay? But it definitely does not build muscle. Anaerobic cardio, things such as sprinting, things that are short bursts of speed, you know. It could be playing volleyball even, where your heart rate is up, but a short burst of speed, and it's explosive. Speed skating, you know, going to an African dance class. Those are all like anaerobic type of cardio, especially sprinting. And if you look at sprinters' bodies, a lot of times they're very lean. They have muscle, not a lot of body fat. Aerobic cardio, which is like jogging, like if you're someone who's going to go jog for miles and they're going at a slow pace, they're going at a moderate pace for an extended time. That can cause you, that burns fat, but it causes you to lose muscle. And how much muscle you lose doing that depends on how much muscle and fat you have to begin with and how much you jog, how much you partake in that aerobic activity. But anaerobic cardio will cause you to build muscle and burn fat. Okay, so that's why when you see sprinters, they don't have a lot of body fat and they'll be cut up. But then you see a distance runner, and a lot of times they're skinny fat. You know, New York is a marathon city, and you see all the people jogging, and they're like, you know, hunched in like this, like skinny fat. It's not tight. They don't have muscle. Muscle is what holds your body together. Muscle is the metabolic tissue of the body. Okay, so the more muscle that somebody has, the faster their metabolism, the more calories their body burns even at rest, okay? And so that's another reason why like the cardio machines and stuff in the gym are really a bunch of nonsense, because they'll tell somebody, oh, you burn this many calories, and they base it on the weight that somebody put in there. That's not an exact science. How much calories somebody burns depends on how much muscle they have to begin with, okay? And what they ate before that. So it's a way more complex thing, and it's not an exact science. Nobody should be worried about counting calories. I'll do a video about that later, but just forget that. Throw that out, okay? So because muscle is what gives our body shape, muscle is what keeps our body together. Muscle is the metabolic tissue of our body, and muscle also moves bone, okay? So muscle is very important. After the age of about 30, we lose about 2% of our muscle every year, depending on what we did before 30 and what we do after 30. So if before 30 you were doing nothing, and you didn't take the opportunity to build muscle and build a strong foundation, then after 30, your muscle loss is going to be a lot more detrimental and rapid and probably noticeable. But if before 30 you were building muscle, if you were a kid, you were active, so a lot of times you set that in place, that body in place, and then you have been engaging in strenuous activity, not like you took a walk someplace. Taking a walk is not exercise to me. Okay. Being from New York, walking is something that everybody does. It's just what you do. It's what you do. That's not exercise. You need to walk, but you need to do a lot more than that. Unless you're walking up serious hills all the time, it's nothing to be excited about, right? So, that's number one. Why you want to build muscle is the most important thing for burning fat. Everything else that you could do in the equation, I'm going to eat less, I'm going to take these fat burners, I'm going to do whatever. Number one, build muscle, okay? Because when you do all the other things, you're burning more. And that's why when you see people, a lot of times when people see people who are morbidly obese, people will think, oh, that person eats too much. And I never think that. When I see somebody that's morbidly obese, and I see that a lot in Chicago, it's really interesting because I see people here who look like they're about to explode. They're like precious big. And I see that a lot. And some people, especially people in Chicago, they'll say, oh, because they eat too much. But if you go to the hood in Chicago, there's no food, okay? There's no food. If you go to the hood in New York, there's food everywhere. It is not good quality food, but the food's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And you don't see people who are fat like that. But not just New York. Other cities that I've been to, like people eat a lot in New Orleans. They eat a lot. That's an eating, drinking city. And I don't see that type of morbid obesity. I don't see it in Atlanta. I don't see that, like in Chicago, there's especially big people. And to me, I'm like, I don't believe that came from them eating too much. To me, there's something metabolically wrong. There's something that they're probably exposed to. I don't know if they're trying to poison people in this city. I don't know, but there's something else. Like when you are big, like Big Pun, like how Big Pun was so huge, but he was hospitalized on some kind of medication that made him like that. He didn't get like that just from eating a lot. You know what I'm saying? So it's and that's the reason why you keeping your metabolism in check is important. And I have a video about that as well. So I forgot. So let me get back on the topic with burning fat. So building muscle, right? Number one. And there was something that I was going to say about the obesity, but I forgot what it was. Okay, so number two, lifting weights, okay? Lifting weights is essential, okay? Essential, because like I said, muscle moves bones. So for me to lift my arm like this, right? For me to do that, my shoulder muscles are contracting, my deltoids are contracting to bring my arm up. And probably it's part of my biceps, the top heads of my biceps are contracting and bring my arm up. I'm gonna lift my leg, that's my quadriceps contracting, my hip flexors. My abs are stabilizing, right? So muscles move bone and they give us shape. They're also shock absorbers. That's the other thing with muscle. Muscle helps to absorb shock. So any injury that you may have, that somebody may have, you always want to strengthen the muscles around that bone. So if somebody has a back injury, you want to strengthen the muscles around the back. If somebody has a knee injury, you want to strengthen the muscles around the knee. If you sprain your ankle, which a lot of people do as kids, and they don't properly heal from it, and it keeps spraining, you have to strengthen the muscles around the ankle, right? So muscles are shock absorbers as well. And so the only way that, you're going to get stronger and build more muscle, you have to lift weights. People could talk about calisthenics, and calisthenics is great, but that is not really what is going to, it can make you strong to a point. But especially when you're dealing with your legs. Upper body is one thing. You can do a lot with calisthenics with upper body. but the lower body. And a lot of people I see that, especially men that preach calisthenics, I don't lift no weights, I just do calisthenics. They don't work their legs because calisthenics for the legs is a joke. Okay, with the legs, calisthenics can give you more muscular endurance, but it's not going to make your legs stronger. If you want to jump higher, run faster, be more explosive, prevent getting ACL injuries and hamstring tears, you've got to lift weights, okay? And this is coming from somebody who's a strength and conditioning specialist. I'm not just a personal trainer, which, like, personal trainers, a lot of people in that realm, no offense to anybody, but their level of knowledge is on a lower level. It's fitness industry knowledge, which has more to do with, I'm just going to work out like this to look this way, and based on a lot of myths and stuff like that. As a strength and conditioning coach, our job is to make sure that that we decrease the risk of injury. In every sport, every position has its risks of injury. And our job is to give them exercises in the weight room to decrease injury and increase performance. You need to increase your 40-yard dash. You need to increase your vertical jump by 2 inches. You need to come back from this injury on your knee and be able to jump off your right knee like you could jump off your left knee. That's what a strength and conditioning specialist does. The physical therapists are the ones who take people like right out of surgery or right out of something and get the full range of motion back, at that joint. Once that happens, the strength and conditioning coach, that we do post-rehab of building that strength. So that's what strength and conditioning coach does. Okay, so you have to lift weights. And that's one reason why also the legs, the largest muscles in the body are in our lower extremities. The gluteus maximus, or quadriceps, all these muscles are huge. They're a lot bigger than these muscles in the upper body. These muscles in the upper body are a lot smaller, okay? So when you work your legs, you increase your testosterone more than anything else. And this is in men and women. And the more testosterone that you that you build up, then the more you will build fat and build muscle as well. Testosterone plays a role in that. Which, okay, hold on a minute. There's something I want to say. Another thing I want to add to that. Okay. I just thought of another thing to say. Okay. I need to write a book. Okay, so testosterone too, right? In men and women, don't be afraid of, I'm gonna get too much testosterone, look like a man. When you see women who, like female bodybuilders who look manly, that's because they're on steroids, okay? Like, I don't care what they say. And when you see women who look like dudes and they're bodybuilding, they're on drugs, okay? That's number one. Number two, they work out to look that way, which is not easy either, So it's a combination of drugs and the way that they structure their program and their diet. If you eat like an athlete and you train like an athlete, which is what I believe, then you can burn fat, build muscle, be healthy, and look like a woman still, So don't put that in your head. Don't put bodybuilding into your head. I don't want to look like a man. I don't want to lift weights. No, women have to lift weights. The women with the bodies that sustain, right, over time, lift weights. They're doing stuff like that because muscle holds your shit together. Even if you have extra body fat, you have women who are very voluptuous. They have they're very voluptuous and they have a good amount of fat with the muscle, but it's evenly distributed and they're voluptuous women. But as long as you have you strengthen the muscle underneath it, like women with really big breasts, a lot of women who are have really huge breasts will say that their back hurts. And I always say, well, have you tried strengthening your chest and your back first? Because breasts are fat and muscle supports, and muscle, again, any stress that you have in your body, you want to strengthen the muscles around that area. So if a woman with big breasts says, my back hurts. Okay, so have you tried strengthening the chest muscles, which support your breast? And have you tried strengthening your back muscles? You know what I'm saying? You always have to work opposing muscles too. So try strengthening the muscles first before you think you need to get surgery to reduce something, right? So it doesn't mean that everybody has to be super lean. And I'm going to get into a video about body fat percentage as well. I'm going to do another video about that because that's something that's important. But you need to have that foundation, that muscle, okay? And so lifting weights, essential. for men and women, and you must work the lower body because a lot of men don't work their legs, and that's a big mistake. You know, if you don't work anything else, work your legs, okay? Your legs carry you around your entire life. The knees are the most stressed joints in the body. So you definitely want to work your legs, and you need more than calisthenics to work your legs because of the fact that your legs carry you around your entire life. In order for something to get stronger, it needs to overcome a stress that's greater than itself. The muscle needs to overcome some outside stress or to really increase strength, okay? Number 3 is doing cardio after you lift weights. And I put the cardio in quotes because, again, a lot of people, when they talk about cardio, they're thinking about aerobic cardio, which is like riding a bike or jogging or taking a class or something like that. Where it's like aerobic cardio is it's a moderate pace continuous. You don't stop. There's no stopping and starting in aerobic cardio. Anaerobic cardio, because anaerobic cardio, you have short bursts of speed and there are breaks. So you're playing tennis. You're playing, you're hitting the tennis ball, running, stopping, hit, run, stop. Like it's short bursts of speed. Basketball and soccer are a mixture of anaerobic and aerobic. Especially like soccer going more to the aerobic because they have shorter breaks. But when you have like short bursts of speed and breaks, boxing, okay, anaerobic cardio, right? When you do that after you lift weights, like you burn more fat. It takes your body about, I think, 15, 20 minutes to get into a fat burning state. When you lift weights, it's activating the muscles, it's turning it on, it's getting all that going. So then if you go do your cardio after that, you will burn more fat than if you do it before. So a lot of times, and I do this not to burn fat because I don't even think about when I'm working out. Actually, my focus has never been on burning fat. I'm just thinking about building muscle. That's all I'm thinking because I guess I don't have fat that I need to burn. So I'm not thinking about that. I'm just thinking, like, if anything, I could use more fat. That's how I feel. But I'm always thinking about building muscle and getting stronger and having better endurance. That's what I'm always thinking about. Maintaining my performance level. That's what I'm thinking about when I'm working out. So I do this for a different reason, but I still do this, right? So what I try to do is I'll do like an intense leg workout. I'll go to the gym, I'll do squats, Bulgarian split squats, deadlifts, hip thrusts, leg presses, all these different intense leg exercises, right? And then I'll go ice skating. And ice skating works your legs like crazy. And especially the ice skating rink that I go to in Chicago, where there's an uphill and a downhill and 400-meter track. And going uphill when you're jogging, skating, any of that is way more strenuous than when you're just on flat land. So I'll do something like that. Or like I'll go to a dance class. I could work my legs and then go to a Haitian dance class or go to some kind of Afro-Caribbean dance class. But I never would go to the dance class first and then go lift weights. Maybe I would do that, but if I did that, I would really space it out. And I would only do that because that's how my schedule was that day. But I always prefer to do the weightlifting first and then do that cardio activity. And then when you can do it like back to back, like close proximity, it's even better, But even if it's in the same day. So that's another thing. You will burn more fat if you do the weights first and then the cardio. So if you're in the same day, if you're going to swim and lift weights in the same day, lift the weights first and then swim instead of doing it the other way around. That will help you burn more fat. What is that? The third reason? Okay. Number 4, do real work, which if you notice, most of the things that I'm talking about is real work. I never said get on the treadmill. I never said get on the elliptical. I don't believe in the machines, even the bike, the cycling machine. You need to do real work. Do real work because it's more strenuous. So you burn more fat in less time. And it transfers over into real life activity a lot more efficiently. So you don't see athletes training for something on the treadmill. No. You don't see people training to run a marathon on the treadmill or 100-meter sprinters training on the treadmill. No, they go outside. They go outside. You don't see basketball players, football players, training on the treadmill. Like they go, they take it to the field, they run drills. They do agility drills. They do stuff like that. So sorry, my muscles. You want to do real work. Run up some real stairs. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, as a trainer, even though my specialty is training athletes, a lot of my clients have been regular people. And in the regular fitness industry, it's like so many people, especially my experience with women, is that they want to order a body, which is the reason why the plastic surgeons are making so much money, because people are lazy. People are lazy, okay? Girls will come to me, show me a picture of Serena. Oh, you want to look like Serena. Okay. First of all, you might not even have the shape and the frame to look like that. So that might not be in your genetic potential. But let's say it is in your genetic potential, right? Are you willing to get up and run up some stairs, six flights of stairs, 6 days a week, for the next 6 years? Are you ready to do that? And other things. People are not willing to do that. They want to do some little bullshit workout in the gym for like 2 or 3 months, and then they want this dream body. And so I do understand that brick houses are built over time, okay? They're built over time. That's how the foundation. Like for me, it's like, yeah, I do a lot of stuff. I work out a lot now because as I get older, working out becomes even more important to me because I want to age gracefully. I don't want to lose my function. I don't want to be the person that one day, you see a picture of her when she used to be young and you're like, damn, what the fuck happened to you? You can't even recognize as the same person. I don't want to be that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be that. So, and as a dancer, and as somebody I'm active, I want to keep my shit together. So that's important, right? So doing real work transfers into real life shit. So like if I'm pole dancing and I'm pulling myself up the pole, there may be one day I could be hanging from something for my life. In order for me to save my life, I have to pull myself up. You know what I'm saying? And so now I got that skill that translates into something real. So just do real work, because if you see somebody who runs miles on a treadmill and then you take them outside, those people can't run 1 mile. You got people doing 4 miles on a treadmill. They go outside, they can't even do a mile. So do real work, because you're working your body more efficiently. Your muscles fire differently. You activate systems differently. It translates into real life activity, and you'll burn more fat, which is the point of this video, right? Number 5 is you need to eat fat to lose fat, okay? Eat fat to lose fat. Now, this is something that the bodybuilding world doesn't do. The bodybuilding world seems like they're so afraid of fat. Everything is low fat, low fat, low fat. And honestly, a lot of them look really unhealthy to me, okay? A lot of the female bodybuilders, because it's like, okay, my abs are defined, like whatever. Like you could say I have a 6-pack, I guess, whatever. But you see female bodybuilders where their abs look like literally like bricks. Like there's no movement at all. Like it's stiff. It's like less fat than this. It's like, when you have abs like that, I don't see that as being healthy. I've seen women with abs, and like me, honestly, I don't think about my abs. I'm not ever thinking, oh, let me do crunches. Like I actually don't work my abs at all. Like I don't do ab exercises. Only time I do ab exercises is when I'm in a class that makes me do ab exercises. They're important for the pole, for like inverting, so I need to do them more for that in particular. But it's not because I'm like, oh, I'm doing this to get my abs right. It's not about the look. It's about I need to strengthen my abs so I can do this pole work, So I need to strengthen it in certain contraction. But when you see women who have those abs that are just so rock hard and solid, and there's absolutely no fat, and they look like a superhero, like Hulk Hogan superhero stomach. That is not healthy, right? And a lot of bodybuilders aren't healthy. So the bodybuilding diet, I would never recommend that you follow, which is all like void of fat and stuff like that. So when I say eat fat to lose fat, I'm talking about the omega-3 fats that are the short chain omega-3 fats, skip that. Short chain saturated fats, CLA and MCT, right? And then the long chain omega-3 fats, right? So the short chain saturated fats, MCT and CLA, which you'll find in every commercial fat burner. CLA oil, MCT oil. Those fats actually help you burn fat. They speed your metabolism and they help you to burn fat. Those fats occur, like the MCT occurs in the coconut oil, but the MCT, CLA fats, they occur in the meat and milk of grass-fed animals. They occur in the yolks of pasture-fed chickens. They are in grass-fed dairy, period. So if you're eating like, grass-fed cheeses and yogurts, yeah. And then, coconut oil is a good source of MCT fats. So eat more fat. You need to eat fat to burn fat, okay? And there's a whole book on that by Mary Enoch. But the fats that you don't want to eat is soybean oil, safflower oil, canola oil, corn oil, all those rancid vegetable oils. No. Those cause inflammation, they cause cancers and problems. But when you're eating fats that come from like beef tallow, duck fat, like I find my French fries in duck fat, or even lard actually. Lard, when you're getting lard from a farm, it's the same. It's actually a very healthy fat. And lard is very similar to olive oil. It's mostly oleic acid, which occurs in olive oil. So lard is not unhealthy. But Crisco is unhealthy. Grass-fed butter is very good for you. Margarine is poison. So you need to get a lot of fats. You definitely need animal fats. But you definitely want the omega-3 animal fats because the plant-based omega-3 fats are different. And they're not really the ones that's responsible for fat burning and stuff like that. Okay. Whew, I'm sorry if I'm boring you with my nerdiness, right? So that's number 5. I said eat fat too. Okay. Number 6 is calcium. Calcium has been shown to help burn fat a lot. So you want to increase the calcium. And guess what? You need saturated fat. You need good old saturated fat to absorb calcium. And vitamin D, calcium, and saturated fat all play a role. So, what foods are high in that? Grass-fed dairy. There's a lot of people who are so anti-dairy. I always say that milk does my body good, okay? I eat tons of ice cream. I drink raw milk. I eat cheeses, good quality cheeses. And I have videos about raw milk. And, there's people that claim to have certain issues with dairy, and I'm a nutritionist. So I work with a lot of clients, and, I can always work with people one-on-one on those issues. And somebody doesn't have to eat dairy, but I'm just saying that is a good source of calcium because of the fact, it's not just the vitamin D, it's the fact that there's a saturated fat, and there's a saturated fat and the vitamin D that occur with the calcium to help you absorb it really well. Whereas like if you're getting calcium from a vegetable source, it doesn't come with that. You know what I'm saying? But calcium, increasing the yogurt's very good. Increasing the calcium in your diet is also a very good way to help burn fat. And then you have number 6, I think I'm on now. Vitamins A and D. This all kind of goes in with each other. Vitamins A and D, vitamin A in particular, helps you to build muscle and burn fat. And vitamin A naturally occurs in dairy, grass-fed dairy as well. Vitamin A is also very high in liver. That is the highest source of vitamin A is in liver. And eyeballs. So I know people from different countries who eat like fish head soup. I have Haitian and Jamaican friends that eat fish head soup, and they ate the eyeballs, and the eyesight's perfect, right? Very high in vitamin A. And vitamin A is very important. And plants, I have a video about that on my YouTube page, that plants don't have vitamin A. They have beta carotene. That's a whole other discussion. And I get more into depth in that video, so I won't get into that. But vitamin A, you must eat animal foods to get vitamin A. There is no plant source of vitamin A. And that's just a scientific fact. Okay. Now, so the vitamin A, the calcium, the vitamin D, the saturated fat, they all work together. So you want foods like that, right? Okay. I don't know if this is 6 or 7. This is, I have two more, and then I'm going to stop this conversation. Next one is caffeine. Caffeine is actually a very efficient fat burner, and that's why if you look in all the commercial fat burners, they usually have caffeine. All those girls that be selling that tummy tea and all that stuff, it has caffeine, as yerba mate. Caffeine does help to burn fat. Caffeine is also a central nervous system stimulant. So I consume caffeine, but not with the intent of burning fat. I consume it because it helps me to do more when I do work out. It helps me to focus more on what I'm doing. And when I do work out, I will work out harder when I have caffeine in my system. Caffeine is considered a performance-enhancing drug for that reason. And if you're an Olympic athlete or high-level athlete, that's one of the things they test you for. It's not that you can't consume caffeine, but it can be over a certain level. And then it's considered to be a performance-enhancing drug. So caffeine is a central nervous system stimulant. And I consume caffeine in the source of yerba mate or matcha, green tea. I do not consume coffee. I don't think that if somebody has a cup of coffee a day, I don't think that's bad. I just personally, I used to be a coffee drinker, but I just don't care for coffee anymore. I'd rather it be tea. Yerba mate is stimulating in a calming way. Okay. So somebody said that they can't have stimulants. If you can't have stimulants, then you just can't have stimulants, and just cut that out. Just don't use caffeine. I'm just listing caffeine as one of the things that helps you to burn fat, right? But if you can't consume caffeine, then don't, and there's no substitute. You can just do the other things. But like to me, coffee is too aggressive. So I prefer the tea, right? Black tea as well, like a good chai tea is also a good source of caffeine. So, and I don't, you drink some of that like before the workout, and it can help you burn fat. But again, I don't drink it for that reason. I drink it for I'm gonna work out harder and get my head into the game. But caffeine does help you burn fat, okay? Especially if you're caffeine sensitive, meaning you're not somebody who really drinks caffeine like that. Then you drink it before workout, you burn even more fat. I've been a caffeine drinker, so that's something that's been a part of my life since I've been grown. So I don't know that it's helping me to burn fat, but it does help, and especially if you're somebody who's more caffeine sensitive. And then the last thing with cholesterol, right? We talked about the fat. Cholesterol and fat are not the same, but you need to have a high cholesterol diet, despite of what you might think. People think cholesterol causes heart attacks. People think that that a high cholesterol diet is bad for you. Totally, totally false, okay? And I have a video about that on my YouTube page too, where I have one all about fat, but then I have one about cholesterol. And there's also lots of other videos, doctors and scientists who are on YouTube talking about the cholesterol myths. I suggest you look that up. And there's books written about it as well by doctors and scientists. What we've been told about cholesterol, what you've been told, what we've been told, I know better, I've known better for a long time, is false. And it's really to sell cholesterol medications and to cause all kinds of problems in your body. Because the fact of the matter is, our hormones are made from cholesterol, okay? So if you're on a low cholesterol diet, you as a man will have issues with testosterone. As a woman, you have issues with your progesterone and your estrogen, your hormones, you have hormone issues, okay? And so in order to even make adequate testosterone, you need to consume cholesterol. And the epidemiological studies show that high cholesterol eating nations are healthier. And people with really low cholesterol actually die of heart attacks and things a lot more frequently, but they don't live as long. And if you look at the longest living, healthiest people in the world, you have the Okinawa in Japan, who, first of all, they cook with lard every day. They eat pork. Most of the world eats pork, and Asian countries love it. The Japanese, the Koreans, the Chinese, all loves pork, right? But the Okinawa in Japan. Then you have the French. The French cook with tons of heavy cream, butter, lard, duck fat, beef fat. They don't have an obesity problem. They don't have a diabetes problem. They don't have a cancer problem. They don't have any of that. They're the second longest living people, healthiest people in the world. And so if you look at African countries, there are black people over here that want to act like, oh, black people are supposed to be vegans and Africans are vegans and not meant to eat meat and all those lies. Go to an African person's house. Go to their grandmother's house and see what they are eating. Go to a village in Africa and see, like, they're eating organ meats. They're eating organ meats damn near every meal, sometimes a few different organ meats. You know, people in the world eat blood sausage, you know. So people over here worried about some damn cholesterol and egg yolks. Are you kidding me? Eat the egg yolks. You can't eat too many eggs. Eggs are so good for you. And you know what? Eggs have a lot of cholesterol, but you know what else? They have very high quality protein. They have the CLA and MCT, the fat burning fats I was telling you about, omega-3 fats. They have iron, vitamin A, all of that in the egg, right? And the cholesterol is there for a reason. For people to think like, oh, I'm going to remove the yolk and I'm just going to eat the white. Do you think nature's stupid? You know what I'm saying? Do you? Because you know what? I'm not, not to bring religion and spirituality into this, but I just want to get into a little bit of common sense. Like, I'm not a God worshiper, right? But I always talk about how I'm a spiritual person, and I talk about how I acknowledge the goddess, and this is why, right? We have Mother Nature. This is Mother Nature and Mother Earth. So at first I was going to say, do you think God is stupid, for those of you who believe in God? But then I said, no, I'm not going to say that, because God is not who created this. It is the goddess. That's why we say Mother Nature and Mother Earth. Like, whose womb did you come out of? Like, fathers are great. I love my dad. I'm a daddy's girl. I talk about my dad all the time. But my mother birthed me, okay? It's my mother's womb that I was incubated in. It is my mother who birthed me. It is my mother who breastfed me, okay? So, yeah, you have to acknowledge that. Now, with that being said, because the gods don't respect Mother Earth and Mother Nature. They don't. So if we take it with that, do you think that Mother Nature made a mistake? You're removing a yolk and eating the white. That's dumb. First of all, it's unhealthy, and that's scientifically proven. Like, egg whites have inferior protein in them, and that's it. Egg yolks have high quality protein, high quality fats, iron, vitamin A, B vitamins. Eat the whole egg. Eat the yolk. If you're gonna eat anything, eat the yolk. You know, eat the whole egg. The whites by themselves are actually pretty toxic. Okay, so I have lots of videos on my YouTube page about that, about my feelings about veganism, why that's not healthy, about cholesterol, about fats, where I get more into depth. But I think you get what I'm saying. So this is about the most efficient ways to burn fat, because you don't want to mess up your metabolism. As a nutritionist, I've had so many clients who have severely messed up their metabolism from being on some vegan diet, being on this diet, that diet. And the more you throw your metabolism out of whack, the harder it is to get it back. And then you have to work hard. So someone like myself, it's like, not only have I been active and working out since I was a kid, playing sports and being a dancer, and I've consistently done that from childhood. But of course, as a kid, I was eating crap because everybody did, you know. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and it's like, you eating soda and stuff that I wouldn't eat now, fast food, whatever. I wouldn't eat that now, but I was always active, you know what I'm saying? And so I never did, and I never decided to become a vegan or vegetarian and cut things out of my diet. And then as I learned more, I was always committed to trying to be as healthy as possible, eat the best foods as possible. But I never did something. I think that veganism is an eating disorder, to say that I'm not going to eat any animal foods. Like, you need to eat local foods. Local foods. If you are eating local foods, if you're, you want to take it back to nature and be indigenous and be all like that, take it to the roots, then you have to eat local foods. And how are you going to survive? Right now I'm in Chicago. How are you going to survive in Chicago? How are you going to survive in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, in New York, and a lot of the world in the wintertime? And there's no vegetation. Or the desert. How about that? There's no vegetation in the desert. What are you eating? You know what I'm saying? So if you're consuming local foods, it's real easy to just go to the supermarket and buy bananas and avocados in the wintertime, and it doesn't even come from your region, let alone out of season, doesn't come from your region. That's not healthy, and that's a whole nother discussion. But check out my other videos on my YouTube pages, and I'll get more into this. So just to go back through the list, the most efficient ways, tips for burning fat, and you can go research all these things I'm telling you on your own. Number one, build muscle, right? Build muscle. Number one most important thing ever, ever, ever. Number two, lift weights. Male and female, lift weights. Number three, the cardio after the weights, right? But you also want to engage in anaerobic cardio, which is another thing I could have put on the list. Anaerobic cardio, okay? So cardio after the weights and focus more on anaerobic. It could be aerobic too, but definitely get the anaerobic in there. So that would be number four. Get the anaerobic cardio. You can do aerobic cardio if you want, but get anaerobic cardio because anaerobic cardio builds muscle and burns fat. Aerobic cardio burns fat but doesn't build muscle. We always want to build muscle. So check out my YouTube video on that. Do your research on that, right? That's number four. Number five, do real work. Do real work, okay? Like even, I prefer someone to go take a dance class over taking an aerobics class. Like forget about Zumba at LA Fitness. Go take a Haitian dance class with some drummers. You know what I'm saying? Go take a samba class with some drummers. Go do that, okay? Number six, calcium. You want to get calcium in your diet. Calcium helps you to burn fat, right? Number seven, eat fat to lose fat. Important. Number 8 is the caffeine. And number 9 is cholesterol, right? You want to make sure you have the cholesterol because you have the hormones, that you produce the hormones you need to even digest things properly and burn the fat. Also, yeah, because fat, you also need fat for digestion, but the cholesterol, you also need it. And you need it to produce the proper hormones. If your hormones are out of whack, that's going to make you store more fat and have issues. Okay, that's why I believe in traditional diets. Traditional peoples weren't stupid. Like we are the sickest and the most unhealthy that humans have been since we've been on this planet. It's not true that we're living longer than we ever had before. That's a lie. Okay, but people before us knew what to do. You know what I'm saying? Look at what your grandmothers and your great grandmothers ate. Important. Okay, so I'm going to end that here. I hope you all learned something. If you did, please share the video. Follow me on YouTube at The Body Scientist 81, and have a great day. Kudos.